Hello there, everyone, and welcome. My name is Daniel, and I have a web shop that's called Nordic Anglers. Today we're going to tie shrimp, and we're going to tie shrimp using these awesome new size of the Easy Shrimp Eyes, the best shrimp eyes out there. They are now available in a smaller size, so you can tie smaller flies. And I thought that would be a good occasion to tie a shrimp, but not just any shrimp. A shrimp that is on a shank, so it has even more movement. We're going to use some craft fur and some different things, but this is a pattern that I'm particularly fond about and really think works very very well. So let's go. The first thing we're gonna do is of course a hook. For this we're gonna need the Arix curved gamma-wools in a size. I think this is a size 8, and I'm just gonna mount my tying thread here. Just as always, make sure that you cover the hook shank with some tying thread to get a good and sound surface for the rest of the materials to latch onto. Well, the next thing we need, which is going to be the tail of this, is we need a teal feather, a feather from the teal duck. I had one of those just here. One second. I'm just quickly gonna get some at the warehouse. What are we tying here? Shrimp. Cool shrimp. We're not tying that. So let's see what we got here on the table. Let's do a craft for baitfish, shall we? Let's see, he's got a little bit of materials lying around here. Let's take some white craft fur for the tail of this fly. Cut off a piece. Hold it up like this. And if you're not familiar with craft fur, it has kind of like, it's not real fur, so it's not real underwool in that matter, but it does have some shorter fibers in there. You want to pluck those out. Otherwise the fly will be too thick. Kind of measure that out. Flip the bunch in your hands like this, because you want to tie this in reverse to first of all to secure it on the hook. So just tie that in on the top here. Cut off the excess there, and as you flip this over, this extra material back here will also act as a little pillow to keep the tail up like this. So the tail will point upwards slightly, and the idea of that is to just stop it from tangling all too much when you throw it. That's the tail done there. I want some flesh in there. This is merged flesh in the color opal. I just want a few strands, 2 to be exact. So the way I like to do that is to place it on the tying thread like this, and hold it with my finger, fold it back over, and that way you can manipulate it to wherever you want it. So I want 2 on each side. That. These forward a little bit. Flip those over. So now they are kind of tied in like a V on top of the hook. So it gives you 2 strands on each side. These got a little bit too long, so I'll just trim those off.
like that. It's looking good. Move the thread forwards a little bit, turn the fly around, and cut off another piece of white bobtail. That's not true, not bobtail, craft fur. Same thing again. Measure it out. Plug out the underfur here. Now this is a bit messy, so I recommend tying up a few of these while you're at it. And then you want to measure this out. You want this bunch to be a little bit shorter than the tail to get the taper right. Same thing again, flip it and tie it in reverse. I want to cut this off to have a little bit better control. Tie that in on the underside of the hook. Kind of widen that a little bit so that the white craft fur is only on the bottom half of the hook. This will act as a belly on the fly. So like that, turn the fly back over in the vise. And then I want to mix two colors of craft fur, and olive one and chartreuse. So cut off a bunch of olive, plug out the underfur once again. Place it on the table here. Get the chartreuse. Bunch of that as well. Same thing, plug out the fur like that, and then I will place that on top of the other bunch here. And then this can be a bit finicky, so what you do is you kind of just roll this around in your fingers to mix these two colors, and it really helps here to cut off a little bit more than you need, because you will most certainly lose a few fibers when you're mixing them together like this. Doesn't have to be super perfect, kind of like this. Great. Now I have that mixed up. Kind of want to measure that out as well, and you can use the front part here for that. So flip that around in your fingers like that. Measure it out. You want it to be roughly the same length. Maybe even slightly longer to get a really nice taper. And then just tie that in on the top half of the hook. This is a little bit too long, so why I still have it in my fingers. I'll just trim that off like that. And don't worry about the middle of the fly looking a bit messy here. Just tie that down. Make sure it's distributed well. Get thread up to the eye of the hook there. Then I want to add some dubbing underneath all this to not only cover up these ugly wraps here, but also give the fly like an inner glow with some fluorescent pink flasher blue dot. Get that on your tying thread here. Cover up those wraps. And you don't need a whole lot here. Just to cover up those thread wraps and to give these craft fur fibers something to rest on, and it will really add a cool look to the fly when it gets wet. You can really see that pink dubbing underneath the white craft fur, like that. Where does he have a dubbing brush here? Just scruff that up a little bit. That. And then I want to flip around all this craft fur here. It looks like a mess at this point, but we will get that under control. Now, if you have like, let's say a pen or one of these reverse tools, you can use that. A straw would work fine. Just flip this over, pull your tying thread through and up in front of the materials, and then just tie a little bump in front of the materials here to kind of force them back just a little bit, like this. It still looks like a mess, but we'll get that under control with some UV resin. What I like to do is to put a drop on my finger, like that, just a small drop. You can, if you don't want this on your fingers, you can use your dubbing needle or whatever. I like to use my fingers, and then just pull the materials back and work that resin into the front part of the fly, like that. And what that will do, it will help you to kind of predetermine the head shape here. So if you have it like this, pull it tight, you can kind of push it forwards a little bit. And if you want a broad head, you can push it, really exaggerating here, you can push it a lot forward, or you can pull it to make it thin and streamlined. And I think I want kind of something in between. So when you're satisfied, just set that with your UV lamp, and you can see here the shape of the baitfish is done at this point. Now I will make my wood finish. Okay, there's not one on the table here, so I'll just do what Daniel does, the expert. So I will be making one with my fingers here, like that. That will be enough, because we will be covering the head here with some UV resin. Cut off the thread. I think it needs a little bit more on the belly there. Another drop on my finger. Break that in. A little bit. Set that when you're happy with the shape. Imagine doing this with epoxy. Nightmare. So I, for one, love UV resin. Now, you could fish it like this, but I think it looks way cooler with some ice. So I will be adding some 4mm eyes to this one. So just place a drop on the side of the fly there. Push on an eye. Like that. Sap that with your lamp. This is just to secure the eye, really. This would get torn off by a fish or when you throw it. It's just to help me get these on. Same thing for the other side. Whoa. Lost that one. But this is not my pack of eyes, so don't tell Daniel I wasted one. Get that on there. Have a look. Secure that. And now all there's left is to build a small head on the fly here with some resin to make it really durable, almost tangle free, and plain awesome actually. Also, this when you soak the fly with resin like this, the dubbing we put underneath there will really shine through and kind of give the impression of, I don't know, gills or something like that. Just work that in. Make sure you cover the eyes so they don't get ripped off. And the trick to working with UV resin is to just apply a little at a time and always keep the fly moving in your vise. Just like this. And you have all the time in the world really with UV resin. Unless you're sitting outside, then you really need to move quick. But we're not outside. And this is not epoxy, so it's a win-win situation we've got going on here. So when you're satisfied, just sap that. And that is one finished craft fur baitfish. And I guess I'll get going before Daniel comes back. Don't tell.
I'm very sorry about that. That took quite a longer time than anticipated. Oh, what is this? This is not the shrimp that I was gonna tie. Something really strange is going on here. But nevertheless, I must say this is a really, really cool fly. Maybe this is something I should do for the channel one time. But, as I'm a bit confused now, I think I will take a look at this fly and see how it's done, and then perhaps get back with a tutorial. As always, I would like to say that you can of course find the full material kit to this fly and many other, and to this baitfish as well, at Nordic Anglers. And if you haven't done so already, it would mean a lot to me if you would subscribe to the channel and click like on the video if you liked it, of course. And otherwise, I wish you all the best of luck out on the water. Thank you for watching.